중에 과에 이르사다 과에 이르사다 아직회 야무진 야배 중에 백만함의 야마워 과에 이르사다 아동회 야무진 야배 중에 과에 이르사다 과에 이르사다 아직회 야무진 야배 중에 백만함의 야마워 과에 이르사다 아동회 엔정배나면서 아사배나면서 아산배나면과 아동회 야무진 야배 중에 백만함의 야마워 과에 이르사다 아동회 엔정배나면서 아사배나면서 아산배나면과 아동회 야무진 야배 중에 백만함의 야마워 과에 이르사다 아동회
Praise the Lord, and God bless you. Walking in grace is our theme for 2021. I want to thank all of you, my upper room family members, for your cooperation during the past year, and also our family members on Facebook and YouTube who always join us to worship the Lord. God richly bless you for your cooperation. It was a wonderful year 2020, but we are looking forward into 2021 that as a family, upper room, we will walk in the grace of God. Paul in 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 14 said, "And the grace of our Lord was exceedingly abundant with faith and love which are in Christ Jesus." Our faith in Jesus Christ release abundance of grace upon our lives. And this year, I need your cooperation, even as we walk through this theme, even as I expand it onto you and from other speakers. Your life will never be the same, for God's grace is about to be showered upon your life. God's grace is going to be abundant over you. You will walk in it, and your family, your marital life, your business life, your spiritual life will be enriched. Join us, and the Lord will bless you. Once again, Happy New Year and prosperous New Year. Lord, the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Atum, atum, atum.
Continually be in my mouth when I sit back and I look and I watch where God took me from and where He is taking me to. Your praise will always continue to be in my mouth. Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the Pastor's Wife Show on Upper Room AGTV. My name is MAVIS ANKAMAH. Tonight, there's this one favorite quote from one great man in the history of Ghana. He says that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation. Tonight, we are talking about health, Christians, and our healthy living, how we can live a healthy lifestyle. So tonight I do not have the regular Asafumami on my seat, but I have the expert, a medical doctor for that matter. We are going to talk about our health. There are so many things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about physical activities, that is exercise, the importance of, taking time to rest, how important it is to go for regular checkups. That is what we are here tonight to talk about. We want our mothers to stay healthy, stronger, and grow gracefully to help our fathers to do the ministry that the Lord has given to them. I know some of our pastors, our daddies, rest is not part of, it's not in their dictionary. But tonight we're going to talk about it. And that is why we want to inform our mothers, we want to educate them. So when our fathers are going overboard, they can tell them, hey, you need to pause, you need to take some rest. That is why I started with that quote, that when we educate a woman, you educate the whole family, the whole community. And studies show that when a woman eats healthy, everybody in the household is more likely to eat healthy. Yes, that is why our mothers need to be informed and to be educated. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Pastor's Wife Show on Upper Room AG TV. We are live on Facebook, Upper Room AG, and YouTube is Upper Room AG TV. Please do me a favor, share as many as you can. Share as many as you can to bless other people. Call one to tell a friend that we are on. We are going to talk about health. You know how important it is when it comes to health. And so please, you as a mother, you need to watch this so that everybody in the household will also be informed and to be educated. Thank you so much for joining in. I have with me the smartest, the intelligent, beautiful. Those of us who are so close to her, we call her Oba, but today we want to go the professional way. And so I'm going to refer to her as Dr. Cecilia Asante MANU. Doc, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? Can you please speak a bit louder? I know you can speak a bit. Welcome to the Pastor's Wife Show.
Thank you.
How is the family doing? How is everybody doing?
The family is doing great. The family is doing actually well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so I know when I spoke to her, I was like, I'm so excited you're coming on the show. So you're excited for me on the hot seat? Yes, but I know it's not too hot. It's not something that you can contain. We're going to have just a little conversation and everything is going to be fine. So just relax. So my quote says, when you educate a woman or when a woman is eat healthy, everybody in her household is going to be eating healthy. How do you make of this? And especially we are talking about nutrition. I know we're going to touch on, lots of subjects, but let me start with the nutrition. How important it is to eat well.
Absolutely. So this is a very crucial subject, and I'm glad we're going to be really talking about this. But before we do that, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your producers for having me on your show. I'm grateful and thankful for the platform. So yeah, I absolutely agree with your quote. If you educate a woman, you've educated basically the entire nation. Likewise, if you educate a woman on what to eat, you've educated the entire family on what to eat. Meaning the woman is the head of the kitchen, right? The man being the head of the house, the woman is the head of the kitchen. Yes. So if the woman knows what to prepare to give to the family blossoms. Exactly. So why is it important to eat very healthy? It's important because one, it's fundamental to the human health well-being. And two, you need your body to be physically and actively strong. And by doing all this, food is very crucial in the process of doing this. You need to build up your immune system. Sure. Likewise, food is crucial when you're doing that. You need to build up your gut, right? And when we say gut, I just mean in the medical term, your microbiome, your belly enzymes, whatever it's in that helps with your metabolism, you need to build it. And it's food that is crucial in doing all these aspects. So that answers the question why it's so crucial to eat healthy, because you're doing all this to, one, prevent diseases that are bound to come, but can actually be slowed down by the way you eat. Two, for your well-being and physical activity. And three, to build up your immune system and your microbiome. So that's the reason why you have to eat healthy.
So it's very, very important. With all that you just said, it's very, very important. As a woman, I enter into my kitchen, or as a mothers watching us, as Safumames, when they enter into their kitchen to prepare something for our mothers, what should come to mind?
So as a woman, when you enter into your kitchen, first of all, you have to think about yourself first, right? So if you think about yourself, that way, if you know what you're putting into your body and that suits you or that pleases you, you will not hesitate to put the same thing into somebody's body, whether it's your family, whether it's visitors coming into your home. So one, what do you have to put into your body that will make you up and going and functional? That's the first thing I ask myself when I enter into my kitchen. Is this going to promote my health? Is this going to make me more healthier? Is this going to make me functional? Is this going to make me physically strong? And if I'm able to say yes to all those questions, I'm comfortable putting it in my body. If I am, I'm comfortable putting it in my husband's body, comfortable putting it in my kid's body. So that's, as a woman, when you enter into the kitchen, that's the first thing that should come into your mind. Is this healthy enough for me that I could feed others the same food? Is this going to actually help me reduce all my possibilities of getting any of the chronic diseases that is so abound in this country? And if you're able to say no, yes, absolutely, this food is not going to make me get hypertension, it's not going to make me get diabetes, it's actually going to slow the process of me getting these diseases, then yeah, go ahead and eat that, and go ahead and feed your family that also.
So first of all, before I enter my kitchen, I should think about myself first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the crucial thing.
Yeah.
Think about yourself first. If what you're going to eat, it's going to make you healthy.
Yeah.
It's going to slow all the processes of getting any of the chronic diseases that is well known to this country, then go ahead and feed your husband the same food, or feed your 3-year-old the same food, and feed your visitors the same food. If you think like that,
Yeah.
putting yourself in other people's shoes, then absolutely, you will blossom in your kitchen and you're going to do great for your family.
You're going to do great for your family. Do women have different nutritional needs than men?
That's actually a great question. We get this question most of the time. So when there are different kinds of needs that women and men need, right? But when it comes to the macronutrients, which we have 4 basic macronutrients. We have the carbohydrates, we have the proteins, we have the fat, we have the minerals and vitamins. When it comes to those, we all need the same macronutrients. Men need these macronutrients, women need this macronutrient. The only caveat to that is men requires a higher intake than women. Meaning, so women is more built up with fat, whereas men is more built up with muscle. And the reason that being that is when you have more muscle, you burn more calories faster. So men burn more calories faster, and because they burn more calories faster, they tend to require a higher intake of the macronutrient. But that doesn't mean that women don't need the same macronutrient. We do need the same macronutrient, but less intake of that macronutrient. I'm not sure if that answers the question.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, so men do a lot of, they do the hard work.
Exactly.
So if you think you're not doing any physical activities, there's no need taking in so much.
Exactly.
There's no need taking
Exactly.
in
So you're taking in based on your muscle mass for men.
For men.
You're taking in based on your muscle mass.
Yeah.
So if you're a build-up guy, somebody who lifts weights, somebody who does strenuous physical activities, their intake is going to be very high compared to somebody who is less muscle mass, so intake is low on that end. But women, we have less muscle, instead we have more fat, unfortunately. So our intake is not as that of men, but we all do require all these big 4 macronutrients that everybody requires: proteins, carbohydrate, vitamins, minerals, fat.
You're live on Upper Room AGTV Radio, and this is the Pastor's Wife Show. Please, if you do have any comments or questions, you can send them across. Today, we need to read your questions. If you want to ask Dr. Cecilia any question at all, you can ask her. As the show progresses, I will be reading your comments. Dr. Cecilia, what vitamins and minerals do women need or should have?
So that's also a very important question. So women, makeup is very different from men, right? So women go through menstrual cycles. Men don't go through menstrual cycles. We lose blood every month based on our menstrual cycle, which men do not have the pleasure of doing. So that being said, there are a lot of different vitamins and minerals that we need, that men also need it, but they don't need it as high as we do. So let's go over this little picture that we have, and then we will touch on them as the picture will be uploaded. Okay. So the first one is iron.
Okay.
We talked about losing blood every month. It's crucial, extremely important for women to have iron in their bodies. If not, because we're losing blood every month, you become anemic, and anemia has its consequences, right? So if you're a woman that is, you lose blood heavily, like you have a heavy menstrual period, it's very advisable by your primary care doctors to take iron supplements just because you're losing blood so much. So you need an iron uptake to help kind of recover, basically. The second the second minerals or vitamins that we need is calcium. Men also need calcium, but women need it most, especially women after 50 years. So you need it to help your bone build up. Basically, there is a disease which we will talk about when we get to the latter part of this presentation, but there is a disease called osteoporosis, where your bones start becoming very weak, it start becoming very brittle, and you are prone to getting fractures. And we see this in the elderly people. And by getting enough calcium as you need, that helps slow that process down or help prevent it in total. So those are the two key things we need. Biotin for our hair, which we all very well want to protect, for our skin, for our nails. Men need magnesium more than women do. Men need vitamin E more than women do. But for these three vitamins or minerals that I've mentioned are the key, especially iron, are the key vitamins that women need.
Please, viewers, we do have some slides we'll show to them. We're working on it. When it's ready, we'll show them to you. When you read 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, Bible says that, so whether you eat or you drink or whatever you do, you must do it all to the glory of God. And so whatever you put into, how many of us even consider this scripture when we're eating or when we're drinking? We need to consider this one so that you don't just put anything into your body. And I told you that today we're going to look at our health issue. We're going to look at it from the human context and from the biblical perspective. What does the Bible say about we taking care of our bodies? And so the next question I'm going to ask Dr. Cecilia is that, how can a Christian woman be healthy?
So a Christian woman can actually be healthy. We touched upon this during the first 2 or 3 questions earlier. So one, the same thing, putting yourself first. So if what you are going to eat is going to promote your health, absolutely go for it. But what are some of the things that you can eat that can help promote this health? So what are the things that a Christian woman can do? So when you enter your kitchen, you look around and you want to cook. You want to grab something that is less with sugar. So less containing sugar, less containing salt. You want to grab something that is less containing fat. You want to grab something that is less containing carbohydrate. You need all these things. So we're talking about moderation here. So I'm not saying cut your chocolates. I'm not saying cut all your sugary drinks. But everything is in moderation. So if you want to be a healthy Christian woman, you're talking about being a moderate woman where when you enter your kitchen, you know, like you want salt in your food, but because you want to be healthy, I'm going to cut it down. You know you want the corned beef in that stew, but because you want to be healthy, and you check the label and it's 17% cholesterol, and you don't want that cholesterol, you're going to take that corned beef out of the stew. So those are the kind of things that you want to check out for as a Christian woman if you want to be healthy. And we kind of did talk about this, that once you set on the path of being healthy as a Christian woman, it goes along and cuts into your family and cuts into all the guests that you have in your house. You want to prioritize sleep. As a Christian woman, if you want to be healthy, you want to reduce stress. We'll talk about it as we go on. You want to be physically active. You want to incorporate vegetables, fruits into your food. We talk about less salt, less sugar. You want to think about it globally, right? Because being healthy, it's basically not just physically. It's also emotional.
Okay, I think our slides are ready. We're going to show them so you can explain to our viewers what that means.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you're still live on Pastor's Wife show on Upper Room AGTV. Our slides are ready. Okay.
All right, so we did talk about minerals and vitamins that women will need. So on the slide, you see men, you see women. So the women part is what we're focusing on, especially the iron part. So calcium, we talked about bone strengthening, mostly for our women that is above 50. But even if you're young, you could still make sure you have enough calcium intake. Iron, definitely very important. The good thing is most of the iron now is built up into the food that we eat. Like the bread, the cereals, all have fortified iron and folate, which is great. Biotin, we talked about. Folate is another thing that's not on, but it's very, very crucial, especially for young women that is of childbearing age. You want to make sure your folate is up to date, because whenever you get pregnant, it's very crucial for neural development of your child's brain. And before you realize, before you even know you're pregnant, it's about a month or so. And the first few weeks, the first 4 to 6 weeks is the time that brain development actually starts. So you want that folate in there before you even know you're pregnant. So make sure your food, your cereals are folate fortified if you are a woman of childbearing age. So that's that. The next slide also go into some of the vitamins that is crucial. Again, it's the same picture. On the blue is for men and the orange or the yellow is women, and we're talking about antioxidants. So we talked about iron, we talked about calcium, we talked about biotin. So let's go down to the antioxidant. So there we're going to see vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and these are your antioxidants. It helps break down all the unwanted like oxygen byproducts that's in your body. So these are also crucial and you need it. Vitamin D is not there. It's crucial to both men and women, so that's also very important. Potassium, we see it there. You can get it in your bananas. Please eat. Niacin, vitamin E. All very important to women's health, and likewise to men also. So those are some of the vitamins and minerals that we need as women.
So, I mean, those were the vitamins doctor was talking about. You saw the slides by yourself. And I know we are learning a lot today on the Pastor's Wife Show. God richly bless you. Please keep on sharing to bless others. Today we are talking about health, how our mummies we can inform our mothers or educate them to stay healthy, and also to help our fathers to do what is right. Especially we'll come to the rest side. I know most of the pastors do not. And I know Dr. Cece always will be fighting with Daddy, arguing with him to, you know, take some time to rest. And so we'll be talking about that. And even you as a mother, you also need some time to rest. Dr. Cecilia, what Bible says that with when you read Psalm 91 verse 16, it says that with long life will I satisfy him. With long life. Should we take the promises of God for granted? God says he will satisfy us with long life. But as believers, do we take these promises of God for granted and do things anyhow because God has promised us?
Absolutely not. So the Bible also says our bodies is the temple of the Holy Ghost, right? So if God in his infinite wisdom is entrusting you with your body and dwelling in that body as the temple, then you have every responsibility to take care of that temple, because you're going to give an account of that temple, since he is the dwelling place. That's his dwelling place. So should we take that? I'll give you an example. Let's use women. We really like expensive stuff. Let's say your husband let's say your husband gets you an expensive car or an expensive bag. Would you just open the car, just spill some soda in it, just spill some orange juice in it, throw in some potato chips? Nobody would do that. You wouldn't do that. Your husband will look at you like, wait, are you very ungrateful? Like, what's going on? And if you think about your body like that, it's the same way. So you think about your body as a cherished gift that God has entrusted you with. So you're not going to put anything that will bring disservice to God in it. So if you're going to put in something, remember what you put in is what you get out. If you put chaff in, you build up chaff body, unfortunately.
We want you to go back to the vitamin, the slides. We want you to go back to the video, because some people want to know much about that. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, can we go to the other slide first? All right. So this slide, actually, this was a slide about a woman eating healthy. How can a woman be healthy? So this is something I use in my house, and I feel like it's really important to share. if you go into your kitchen and you want to eat a healthy food, if we can go back to the other slide before we come to this slide, that would be great, the pyramid. So if you get into your kitchen and you want to be healthy, right, and you grab a plate, you divide the plate into 4. That's how I think about it. 50% of the plate or half of the plate should be vegetables, fruit, and then the other 25, which we will go into it, but let's talk about this pyramid first. First of all, if you look at the bottom part, which is the biggest part of it, you see vegetables, fruits, that's that. The second part, you see proteins, which is where you have your fish, you have your meat, your chicken, all that. And then the third part, you see carbohydrate, that's where you have your cereals, your rice, your pasta, your bread. And then you see the latter part, that's where you have your oils, your olive oil, your herbs, all that, your spices and all that. And this is made meticulously, like if you see the sizes are very different. So if you enter your kitchen, you want the bottom part to be the biggest on your plate. So we can go to the next slide. The next slide is showing the same thing, but in a plate form. So if you go to your kitchen, what you want to do is you want 40 to 50% of your plate to be vegetables and fruit. Okay, so you want it to be leafy greens, yellow, whatever, orange. So you want that part to be 50%. You want a quarter of it, like 25%, to be your protein, which is your fish, your eggs, your meat. And then it said 25 here for the carbohydrates. Personally, I think that's a little too much. You can make it 20% or like 15%, whatever works for you. But divide the plate into 4, a quarter of it to be vegetables, no, half of it to be vegetables, a quarter of it to be proteins, a quarter of it to be carbohydrates, and the other half of it could be spices, or it could be like grains, whatever it is that you want. Nuts, specifically, it could be nuts, which is great. It could be avocados, any of those things. And remember, with this plate, you also have a jar of water, not a jar of juice. You also have a jar of water right next to it. It's very, very, very important. If you look at it, the color is not one. It's not one color for a good reason. It's more explained better in the other slide. If you look at it, the color is not one. Meaning your food cannot be one color. Okay? It cannot just be spinach. And it cannot just be carrot. It has to be a mixed color. Can we go to the pyramid for 2 seconds? Just so we see. So if you look at the pyramid, it portrays it really well. It has to be colorful. Your food has to be colorful. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, a little bit of white, a little bit of everything in there with your water. So it cannot be one color. You have to have a mix of color. And I have a senior doctor at work that tells me this. You tell him, oh, what vitamins do you take? And he's like, wait, I eat healthy. Why do I need to take vitamins? If you are able to colorful your food, you would not need extra supplements. Because whatever vitamin and nutrients you need will be provided in that food. You get the potassium from bananas. You get your antioxidants from, which is your vitamin E, your vitamin C. You get it from spinach. You get it from orange. Like, you don't have to even take extra supplements if you are able to colorful your food. And that's very, very important and crucial. And remember, it's everything in portions. 50% of your fruits and vegetables, 25% of your carbohydrates. If you could cut it down to 20-15%, that's great. You can do 25% of proteins, that's amazing. You could do 10 or 15% of your oils, your fat, which is your olive oils, your avocados, your nuts, your cashews, all that. You can do it. Everything in moderation, but the crucial thing is 50% of vegetables and carbohydrate, and it has to be colorful.
We are learning a lot today. I told you initially that today we're going to be learning so much. We know all these things, but sometimes we need to, remind ourselves. We need to remind ourselves, and I know that you at home learning so much. Pyramid no misro enkotene no. You're still live on the Upper Room AGTV, and this is the Pastor's Wife Show. And tonight we have Dr. Cecilia ASANTE MANU, who is, teaching us a lot. We've been talking about nutrition. I want to ask Dr. Cecilia, how is it so important? How can one stay, a active lifestyle? How can a woman stay active, and how can physical activity help her?
So Physical activity should be part of our daily lives. I know this, especially in this country, is very difficult with work schedule. It's very difficult with our sleep schedule. We're always on the go. But physical activity should be part of your daily life.
How? Should I go to the gym or?
So that's the very misconception a lot of people have. A lot of people think being physically fit means 45 minutes in the gym. No, that's not the way to go.
Okay.
So this is how you break it down. Every week, you have to get at least 150 minutes of physical activity into your daily life, okay? Every week. If you say 150 minutes, it sounds like, oh my God, that's a lot. But if you break it down, it's two and a half hours. Week. We're not talking about a day, week. So 2.5 hours is like watching a movie. Right? If you can sit down for 2.5 hours to watch a movie, in just one day, you could incorporate 2.5 hours into your daily life of physical activity for a week. So break it down. You could do every 10 minutes a day. You could do every 15 minutes a day, or you could do an hour or two within, like spread it within 2-3 days. But it's not about going to the gym that makes you physically fit. It's about what you do. I know some people that just walk down their steps at home 10 times in the day, and that's their physical activity, and that's phenomenal. You just want to have something that will keep you active. Some people just go for a stroll in the community, they just go for a walk, and that's amazing. That's your way of physical. And some people just go to the gym, which is also great. You just want to do something that is physically active, not necessarily having a gym membership or going to the gym that makes you active. You just have to do something that's active. Walk around the community for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Stand a lot instead of sitting down. Turn off your phone for like about an hour. When you're having a physical activity, just turn off your phone. If you want to sit more, turn on your phone, because it's going to make you sit more, because you're going to have a lot of screen time. If you want to stand more, turn off your phone. And that's what people do. Do a lot of household chores. By doing household chores, you're getting your physical activity in place. Do extra household chores. If your regular household chore is cleaning, just add vacuum to it as your physical activity for the day. And 10-15 minutes, you've got it. It's not about going to the gym. It's about just having something that you know, okay, this is something extra that I wouldn't have done today, but because I want to build in my physical activity, this is going to be my physical activity for the day. 50-year-old men and women can go to the gym. Some go, but unfortunately, my mom don't go to the gym. But she makes sure she walks down the stairs for at least 5-10 times a day. And to me, that's good enough as a physical activity for a 60-year-old lady. You know?
So especially when you live in an apartment that it's not, you're not so, I mean, you can use the stairs, not using the elevator.
Exactly.
And yes, and most especially when winter time, we can't go out to do exercise, but at home we can do something.
Exactly.
You just taught us that, so we can still do something.
Yes. I have a crazy schedule that, to be honest with you, I don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
But my gym is, when I go to work, no elevators.
Okay.
That's my gym.
Yeah.
So no matter the floor until it passes 7th floor, no matter the floor, if it is below 7, it's the stairs.
Yeah.
And by the time I come home, I feel like, okay, I think I got my physical activity in today. Right? Because I was able to go maybe 2-3 times to different floors, and I use the stairs. So I don't really, you can go to the gym if you have the extra energy when you come back home. But most of the time, by the time we come home, we're so tired and exhausted that we can't. So get it in while you're working if you can. Get it in while you're home if you can. Whatever that you can do to do extra work physically than you would, get it in.
How can physical activities help our mothers as they age, as they grow up? How can it help them?
So it's very important. So physical activity, one, it slows aging. It's definitely slows aging. Two, it makes you healthier. We talked about eating healthy and how that builds your immune system. Once you are physically active, it slows most of the chronic diseases that we know. Remember, if you are physically active, one, you will maintain a healthy weight. If you're maintaining a healthy weight, diabetes is really off the chart here. Even if it's encroaching, you could slow it down. Hypertension is really on the curb here if you are physically active. And these are some of the diseases that all physicians are trying so hard to tell people, eat less or do this, because we want to prevent these diseases, because the outcome is very terrible. So if you're somebody that is physically fit and you are very consistent with your physical activities, You slow all these diseases down. You slow heart attack down. And by doing all this, your aging process becomes very great.
Yeah.
And that's, if you talk about most of the people that have aged very gracefully, they will tell you that physical activity is very crucial and part and parcel of their lives. So if we want to age gracefully, we should have it.
We should have it.
Absolutely.
If you want to grow gracefully, you should have it. Not necessarily going to the gym, but a lot of things you can do at home to keep you going. We'd like to read some comments. See some comments here. Please, you can also keep them coming. If you want to ask doctor for anything, your questions are welcome. You can send them across. I see one from Mrs. Dino Usupoku Ifya Nefi. She says that, hi, Dr. Cecilia, long time. Trust you're doing good. And this one is from Nana Kodia Odum. He says, the body is the container of the anointing. So what we eat is very, very vital. Yes. And this one is from Lodina Asante. She says, great job, doctor. And I see Nana Apia Apajanensa. And then Mrs. Mino Pokumafo, she says, less containing fat, but less containing sugar, dear. Mercy, God. We all need mercy of God. And this one is from Kwesi Ebrifabusia. He says, thanks, Dr. Asante Menu and MAVIS. And also, this one is from our mother, Mrs. Convada Asante Menu. She says, when you eat food with oil and drink, when you eat food with oil, please drink warm water and lemon after it is good for your body. Would you want to touch on this one? Because I see most of people, like when you eat, especially when you eat food containing fat, they advocate that we drink warm water. I don't know if there's any
So if you think about it, if you cook in a pot that is oily and you clean it with warm water, it cleans well.
Okay.
Right? I personally, I haven't read any research that support this, but just by mere common sense, like if you, I believe that it will help, especially warm water. It will help with the cleansing nature and the metabolism, that it will help speed it up. So it wouldn't hurt, and absolutely. Instead of drinking juice, I'd rather do tea after, which is great, warm. If it is oily, it's going to kind of help me with the metabolism, and that would be perfect than adding a sugar on top of oil.
Okay. So how much physical activity should one, do in order to stay healthy? How much? So
we kind of touched upon this. So you need 150 minutes in a week. Break it down, 2.5 hours in a week. That's like watching a movie. So if we can sit down to watch a movie for 2.5 hours, we can do this, because movie is only one day at a time. This is a week. So 2.5 hours a week, spread it out. You could do every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, or you could do half an hour for 5 days, or you could do an hour for 2 days and half an hour, or 45 minutes. Like however it works for you, but you need at least 2.5 hours of physical activity in a week. Skipping, walking up the stairs, jogging, going to the gym, cardio, rigorous exercise, whatever be it. You just need 2.5 hours. If you can do more, kudos to you. But the least minimum is 2.5 hours. Be it men or women, we all need that.
We do hear this, that when women reach their menopause stage, some of them do gain weight.
Right.
So how can they, during this time, they want to stay healthy and not to gain weight. How can one keep their weight and not gain weight during menopause stage?
So a lot of women, menopause is very stressful for them, which is very understandable. They're going through hormonal changes. Things are really rough in the body. They're not like, what's going on? This is not me. So one, stress is like a huge factor when they're going through menopause. And mostly if you are stressed, you're not eating well. You're not physically active as you want to be. You're not sleeping well. And by all these factors, it's a confounding thing that one, it will make them gain weight. Two, it will make them a little miserable. So how would women get rid of all these things? First of all, you have to talk to your doctor when you're going through this. We all understand it. We've all learned it. We know what's going on. And there is nothing to be shameful about. I tell people, when you go to see a doctor, one, have an agenda for that visit. Right? We all go to the doctor, oh, I'm just going for a checkup. But you got to have agenda. You got to have questions for the doctor about your health because you want to be up to date with your health. And two, you want to know what's the next step forward. So if you are going through menopause, these are some of the things that you have to take to your doctor. Doc, this is what I'm feeling. This is what is going through me. What should I do? What should I do next? And no matter the stress, Dr. Fordham, one of the doctors that I follow online, has this rule, the count your blessing rule, when I feel stressed. Which, when I read it, I was like, this is amazing. If you're going through your menopause, or even if you're not going through your menopause and you're feeling stressed to the point that you're not eating well, not sleeping well, not physically active as you want to be or you used to be, do the count of blessing rule. Just sit back and look at your life and see what has been going on well for you. What are some of the blessings that God has given you that you want to count? And I bet you by the time you count to 5, you will sit back and it will distress you because you will know that you've had more positive than negatives, that you shouldn't be stressed and too worried about to the point that you're not eating. So use the count your blessing rule. No matter what, talk to your doctor. No matter what, eat healthy. Force yourself to eat healthy. Force yourself to sleep. You need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Some people say 7 to 9. It's a luxury to sleep more than 9 hours in this country of ours. So at least I say 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
You need it as a menopause woman. Even when you're not menopause, you need it because it's good for your physical well-being. You need to do the count your blessing rule to distress, or whatever you do to distress, you need to do it. Maintain a healthy relationship when you're hitting that menopause stage because that's also very crucial. And you need to be physically active. It's hard because you're going through hormonal changes. Use your home as your physical activity. Do more household chores. Do more cleaning. Do more cooking, more laundry. Go up and down the stairs, which we talked about earlier. But all these things will help menopause, like the women going through such immense hormonal things. It will help them cope. And the final, just talk to your doctor. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Talk to your doctor.
Like you said, when they are going through these stages, I mean, there are a lot of things that come into play. What about the family? Because I know that they need support. Exactly. If the family don't understand what the woman is going through, how can they give the support that she needs? Absolutely. And so we need to know, how would we know that, okay, my mom is going through menopause so that I can offer her the support that she needs? What are the signs? So
everybody is different. Things really changes depending, you know your mom. Well, most people don't go through menopause until they pass 45, right? Most people start like around age 50, but let's say 45 is a cutoff. Let's say you've known your mom for that long, for at least however old you are, and you know your mom's behavior. Once things start changing, and if you're very close to your parents or to your mom, I bet she will tell you, oh, I think I'm going through menopause. Or even if she doesn't tell you, and you start seeing the hot flashes, you start seeing her being very irritable over little things, and you start seeing her being moody over little things that before it wouldn't even tip her over, then you realize, oh, mom is 50 and mom is becoming more irritable, mom is always hot, mom is always moody. Okay, these probably are some of the menopause signs that is showing. And as family, that's when you have to be extremely considerate of what the lady is going through. I know some of the guys be like, oh, my wife has changed and my wife is now not the lady that I know anymore. But it's the other way around, actually. That's the time that you have to really show support to your wife. That's the time you have to show support to your mom and be understandable. You haven't gotten to that point yet, and men will never get to that point of experiencing that. But just by mere understanding of what they are going through and being extra supportive, helping with things that before they would have done it, but now they're finding it difficult to do because they are moody or irritable, just step in. Just do something.
I do have some few questions. This one is from our mother, Mrs. Evelyn Ananiasani, and she's asking that, how do we measure our fufu and kenke?
Ma, that's a good question. That's a good question. But I tell everybody, so everything in moderation, right? Fufu is very starchy. So we talked about the pyramid and in shapes and in sizes. So if you're talking about carbohydrate, which is where fufu falls under, it's only 25% of your meal. So even if you are eating fufu, picture the bowl, cut the bowl into 4. that's how, when I'm making my fufu, that's how I do it. Okay, I tell my husband it's going to be a lot of meat, it's going to be a lot of fish, and a lot of soup, and less fufu. And now he's gotten to understand it, because that's how it's going to be.
Initially, he didn't.
It was a struggle initially.
It wouldn't be a one-day thing. It's a process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Initially, it was a struggle, but you know, if you cut your plate down into 4, and I put my vegetables, remember, your soup has your onions, your tomatoes, so that counts as your vegetables. It has your garden eggs, your eggplants, your carrots, whatever you put in your soup. So that kind of mingles in the vegetable. So that's 1. Your meat and your fish is 1, and your fufu is 1. But your fufu has to be only 25% of that portion. So your vegetables, let's say your soup is 25. After your food, you have to eat fruits. So the fruits and vegetables will be 50%, and your meat, your fish has to be 25. So picture it like that, and if you picture it like that, and you're looking at the size of the fufu in your bowl, and it's not 25% of your plate, you got to make it 25. And the same with kenke. Everything has to be 25%. And I was saying it earlier, if you can cut it 25 to 20%, great. But if you can't, just keep it at 25. But divide your plate into 4. Carbohydrate has to be 25, no more than that.
And one of our mothers, is also asking, can you please enlighten us on what time to take our last meal?
Good question, man. That's a very good question. So I always tell people it depends on your daily activity and your daily schedule. Because some people, their physical activity or their actual moving activity for the day starts at 6 p.m. So if you're a night worker and you're going to work throughout the day and you eat your dinner at 7 p.m., that's great. Or even if you eat your dinner at 10 p.m., throughout the night you are very active. Right, so your metabolism is still active and processing and going on, so that's great. But if you're somebody that goes to work at 9, comes home at 5, and you're eating dinner at 7 or 8 and going to bed at 9 or 10, remember, as soon as you sleep, metabolism slows down. If metabolism slows down and you just had 2 kenkes at 8 o'clock before going to bed, that's not a great option. So then if you come home at 5, you say, let's say 5:36, you're having dinner, and that's it. And if you have dinner at 5:30 and you're having some fruits or at 6 o'clock and you're having some fruits at 7, that's great. 10 o'clock you go to bed, that's okay. If you're a night worker, like I said earlier, and you're going to be active throughout the entire night, I work sometimes at 9, and even at midnight you see me eating jollof. I eat it because I know from midnight all the way to like 7 a.m. I'm active and going about and walking, so I know whatever is going on, my metabolism is still processing and going. So I'm fine. But if you're going to be sleeping and you're eating at 8, that's not good. If you sleep, let's say if you sleep at 10, I would say your dinner should be before 7.
This one is from ASANTE. Okay, so Sister Lodina Asante will come on that topic, COVID. She's asking, said, Doctor, a little bit about COVID, please. We'll come to COVID. I'm going to ask her a lot of questions about COVID-19 and the vaccine. This one is from Mommy. He said, hello, Doc. What about my style of making my fufu, which I think you know. And so, what do you think about Mommy's style of making fufu?
Mommy's style of making fufu is healthy, so that's great. So Mommy uses, Mommy don't use the powder. I mean, she uses it, but she uses it only tiny. She uses the actual plantain and actual cassava if she can, and just blend it and add a touch of the powder. So that's great. But Mommy, it's still carbohydrates. So you still need 25%.
Mommy, whether you like it or not, it's still carbohydrates.
Mommy, so you're still gonna need
the portion is very important.
Exactly.
More soup.
Exactly.
More
fish.
More fish.
And remember, when we're talking about meat, we're talking about lean meat. We're not talking about red meat. Not punchy. I mean, we can eat a punchy, but in everything in moderation, right? So we're talking about lean meat. We're talking about chicken. Like we're talking about turkey. Those kind of meat before we jump into red meat. And when you're eating red meat, it's like very portioned. But Mommy, great question, but still 25%.
25%.
25% or 20.
And so for Mami, Anane Asani is also saying, thank you, please, let's not turn the pyramid. So please, let it stay the way it is. Let's not turn it. Okay, so Dr. Cici, the famous COVID-19 and the vaccine, lots of misconception, whether I should take it, I should not take it, the side effects. What is it about? What would you want to tell us about COVID-19? I mean, you are the front liner. you know what happened and what is still going on. What can you say to us?
So it's very important, and this, like, it puts me in a very uncomfortable, not uncomfortable position. It's just, it puts me in a very sad mood and sad position just because of what we've seen in the past year, 2020 into 2021. I work in the emergency room. I'm an emergency room doctor, so like our host said, it's just like right in front of us when it comes, and I will tell you, you don't want to have the virus. You really don't want to have it. And I see a lot of Ghanaians at the hospital. I see a lot of Nigerians. I see a lot of whites, a lot of Hispanics. The thing is, it's no respecter of person. It doesn't really matter, and it's no respecter of age. I know we were talking about it not affecting young people, but we've seen my younger patient that I have right now is 49. He's young. 49 in this country is like absolutely young. But I'm bringing it to emphasize the point that it's no respecter of person, it's no respecter of age, and it's no respecter of race, color, gender, ethnicity. And you don't want to have the virus. There's a lot of misconception about this vaccine, but I mean, I'm not an epidemiologist, but I could tell you that vaccine is just the dead virus being given to you. The only thing is your body does not know if this is dead or alive. So your body just reacts to it and it builds up an immune system towards whatever it's placed in your body. I'd rather have the dead virus than have the live virus, just because of what I've seen. This is just by personal experience. Just by the little I've seen in the hospital, I'd rather have the vaccine than have the actual COVID. And I can tell you, I know there is misconception going online that there is like a chip in the vaccine, it's going to be used to monitor you. We know better. We know we are in America. If they want to monitor you, there are other ways to do that. And there are other ways that they can go about it to monitor you without a vaccine, because some people are still not going to get the vaccine and they can't monitor them. They can get you through the grocery store because we all go there. So there is no chip in there. And I'll tell you this, I got mine all the way back in December, and I'm still here. If you're a frontline worker, or even if you're not a frontline worker, but you have the opportunity to get this vaccine, please, I'm pleading with you, get it, because you don't want to have that virus. And I don't want to see any family member, or I don't want to see anybody that I know to be in a state where I see the patient that I see now, to be in the state where they are in. It's horrible, and it's very lonely and very isolated place that no family, and even the healthcare providers that we are there with you. I come into your room once or twice a day. I only stand into the window and wave at you. You don't want to be in that spot. It's a lonely place, it's a difficult place, and it's tough and sad. Please don't be there. If you have the opportunity to take this vaccine, take the dead one. Don't take the live virus, okay? You're better off with the vaccine than getting the COVID itself.
There's this slide you wanted to talk about. The slide is ready. And
okay, so it's just a slide about death. Well, in here it said mortality, but mortality just means death. So, and physical activity that I wanted to talk about. So if you look, there are 3 lines. There is blue, red, and green, okay? At the bottom on the x-axis, you will see age. So from age 50, age 60, age 70, 80, 90, and then on the y-axis is the percent mortality rate. So the percent of death, 20, 30, 60, 80% of death, okay? And on the blue line is the people that do not exercise or do not have a physical activity. Remember, it doesn't say people that do not go to the gym. It says people with low physical activity. The red is people with moderate or medium physical activity. And then green is people with very high physical activity. So you know yourself, you know which category you fall. Do I have low physical activity? Do I have moderate physical activity? I think I'm in the middle, moderate. Do I have high physical activity? And now let's look at the percent mortality. So the people that are on blue, which is the people with low physical activity, you see the line trending, the blue line goes all the way up past 80%. So from age 50 if your physical activity is low, your chances of death, I'm using the word death because I don't want to use mortality because some of us don't understand that, but your chances of death slowly creeps up and it goes all the way to 80%. 80% means when you take 10 people that have low physical activity, 8 of them will die by the age of 80 if they don't have physical activity. And even by the age of 60, or 65, it's close to 20%. That's 2 of them. That's very significant. Let's look at the blue, or let's look at the green. People with higher physical activity, by the age of 80, they still have very, very low chances, less than 30% chance of dying. Yeah. So if you take 10 people, less than 3 of them will die if they have high physical activity. A lot of us may not get to the green line, maybe because of a work schedule. It's difficult for us to do a higher physical activity. But remember, a high physical activity, we explained, is only 2.5 hours a week. 2.5 hours a week of physical activity. So if you can do that, you will fall under the green light. Let's say you can do it, but you can do 1.5 hours a week. We're not talking about a day. We're talking about a week, which if you spread it out, it's even less than 10 minutes a day. You can fall into the moderate, which is the medium, and even with the moderate, by the time you hit 60, your chances of death is very low, or mortality is very low. And when you hit 70, you hit 80, it's a little bit high, but it's still better than being in the blue. The blue is like all the way up. By the time you hit 70, you're almost creeping up to 50%. So please, let's take it very important. It's only 2.5 hours a week. Think about it as watching a movie for a week. That's how you think about it. Spread it out during the week and get it done, please.
Okay, so let's come back to the COVID and then the vaccine. If I should take the vaccine, is it possible? Am I still get reinfected? If it is possible, what is the essence of taking the shots or the vaccine?
Good question. So yes, if you get a vaccine, yes, it's so possible for you to get infected. Remember, what the vaccine is doing is to build up your immune system. So if you get infected again, your immune system will be like, oh, I already know this disease. I already have my fighters ready for it, and we are ready to go. And that's where the vaccine wants to take us, or that's the purpose of it, basically. So you want your body to be ready that once you get it, you already have your fighters, which is your immune system, ready to go. So you want it basically just to build up your immune system, not because you don't want to get that infection again. Think about it as the chickenpox vaccine. We all get MMR because Ghanaians, we all have that mark, or Africans. We all get the chickenpox vaccine. You get it, and when you get a chickenpox, it's not as severe as somebody who hasn't been vaccinated. Right? So that's the purpose of it. And we all say, oh, I got chickenpox earlier in my life, so even if I get it again, it's not going to be as serious. It's the same concept. Once you get a vaccine, or once you've had COVID before, you build up an immune response. You can get the disease again. However, your body is not going to react to it as severely as you did the first time, because they've already mounted an immune response earlier that they are already in place, that once you get it, it just springs into action, and it doesn't become serious, and hopefully it doesn't get you on a ventilator. That's the purpose of it, because we don't want to get anybody on the ventilator.
Auntie Grace is asking that, is it good to use oatmeal powder with a little fufu powder to make fufu?
That's a new one.
That's a new one.
That's a new one.
Okay.
It sounds good though.
Yeah, sounds good.
It sounds good. I haven't tried it yet.
Maybe but
I think I would, because it sounds healthier than using the regular powder for food. But yeah, anything that you think will help
healthy.
you make it healthy, absolutely. Just
go for
do it. Yes.
Just go for
yes,
it.
Yes.
This one is coming from Mrs. Evelyn Anyasani. She says, thank you for educating us on the vaccine. I want to ask this question. Our time is almost there. The rest, we want our fathers to take some time to rest, but it seems that the word rest is not part of their dictionary. It is not in their dictionary. What would you say, or how would you tell our mommy, so that when our fathers are going overboard, they can tell them, hey, slow down. So lack of rest, very important. It's a very important subject. So we talked about physical activity, how eating healthy will help build us up, will help
the same way rest does. Absolutely. So you need rest if you want your immune system to work well, if you want to live physically healthy. If you don't have rest, you can't even eat well. And you can't even physically be active like we're talking about. So it's very, very important. You want to build up your neural cells or your brain cells to really be active. As students or in school, when you are so tired and so restless, you can't even study. And it goes along with our mothers and fathers, or mostly our fathers, who basically is at the pulpit or who is usually like in church every day, that we tend to take care of others more than we take care of ourselves. And I feel that's their calling. So, but then in that, you still have to build that rest into it. But you added a good, important point to it. How would our mothers help? I feel like this falls onto the shoulders of our mothers. If you see daddy is restless, if you see daddy is tired, you could tell daddy it's okay to say no. You could tell daddy it's okay to turn this program down. It's okay. Because you need rest. You need to be physically active. You need to be emotionally active. You need to be neurologically active. And you need your microbiome to be active. Restless, not having enough sleep, being stressed doesn't help. It's okay to say no, daddies. If I call and you're tired, daddy, it's okay to say no to me. And likewise, it's okay to say no to everybody. Or turn off the phone. Mommy, you can seize the phone. Seize it for a couple of hours. Force daddy to go to sleep. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay to say no when you're tired.
Yes.
Dr. Ceci, your final words.
My final words. So we talked about a whole lot of things today that is very important to me and dear to my heart.
Okay, so I have a few questions.
Before final words.
Before final words,
okay.
And this one is from Miss Asafumami Ivlinga Nani Asani also says that I use oats powder with a little fufu powder as well, like Auntie Grace. And Asafumami Comfort Asantimini said that one is the old method. So Mami the method didn't know anymore. That's how mother Asafumami. She has been using that method, so this it's old. Okay, thank you, Mommy. And this one is from Auntie Grace Minsa. She says, thanks very much for the education, Doctor. God richly bless you. God bless you too, Auntie Grace. Okay, so your final words.
I think I will add a little bit to
okay,
the oatmeal.
Oh, so you can.
So I haven't really done the fufu one, but I tried this with bread, really. So instead of eating bread, what I do is you put oatmeal in a blender, and you put like 1 apple to it, and you just like you could put 1 egg in it, or you could add a little touch of water, depending on how you want it. But usually I put 1 egg in it. And that's like your bread. So you just, once you get the paste, you just make it like a pancake. Put a little, like a tablespoon of olive oil in the frying pan, and you just kind of toss it in the thing. And instead of eating bread, that's your bread. And I tell you, it tastes great. No sugar in it, just your oatmeal, your apple, and a touch of egg. And healthy, better than bread. And if you're eating bread, not the African market bread, not because I want to stop market for them, but please. The grainy brown bread, not the big chunky white bread that's all just carbohydrate. No.
So for Mami Comfort Asante Menu is asking, can we have part 2? So for Mami, unless you speak to Dr. Cecilia to know her schedule. So Dr. Cecilia, this one, dear, free adverts. Can we have you next week or what happened? This is what Sofmami is asking. But I think next week, or you speak to her behind the scenes.
But I think it will be behind the scenes because next week I work.
Okay, you speak to Sofmami. Okay, so say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Your last words.
So my last words. We've touched about a lot of important points today, and I feel like the take-home message today is one healthy life that we want to build, and it incorporates a whole lot of things. Your diet is very crucial to it. Physical activity is crucial to it. Remember, when you talk about diet, everything is in moderation, everything is in portions. Remember your pyramid, remember your plate. If you don't remember the pyramid, remember the 50-25-25 rule, which is great. Have 50% vegetables and fruit, 25 carbohydrates, 25 proteins. That's important. Regular exercise, we talked about, you need at least 150 minutes in a week. That is only when we say 150 minutes, it sounds too big. 2.5 hours in a week. It's very, very crucial. Build it in. It's not necessarily going to the gym. Just build it into your household chores, build it into your work schedule, build it in some way, somehow. Get it done in 2.5 hours. Remember, it affects your mortality. Mortality is death. It's going to decrease your rate of death, which is amazing. Rest, 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 rest. We talked about it a little bit. Remember, when you are stressed, you're not functionally healthy, you're not physically healthy, you're not emotionally healthy. Use the 5 count your blessings stress rule, where you sit back and say, I'm stressed today, I'm tired today, I'm going to sit back and count my blessings, count my positive things God has done for me. And by the time you hit blessing number 5, okay, I'll take a step back and rest because I know God is in control. If he's done all this, he's going to do it. So use your 5 counting blessing rule. Positive thinking, which is great for us Christians, because you could stand in front of the Bible and use it as your mirror and profess whatever is in there that is positive to you, profess it to yourself. I've been made in the likeness of God. I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. Just whatever will make you think positive for the day. Remember, it's a way to de-stress also. And that's also very crucial to your healthy mind, healthy body, and physical activity. It's all great. I think that's it.
So that's all time will allow us on today's show. We've had an amazing time. What a wonderful time we've had on the show today. And I know that you have been blessed. You have learned so much. Please, if you didn't watch it, go back to the video and watch the statistics. What Dr. Cecilia showed us today, you have to learn, you have to know it. Because we want our mummies to stay healthy, stronger, and age gracefully to help our daddies to do the ministry that God has entrusted into them. God willing, next week will be coming your way. I don't know if Dr. Cecilia is coming unless mommy convinces her. I don't know what she's going to say to her. But I would like to say thank you to my director and producer, Dr. Pastor Daniel Opokumafo, my manager, Mama Asafumame, Comfort ASANTE Menu. Thank you so much for doing the work. Yesterday, I forgot something, but she did it. I said, Mommy, you are doing the work very, very well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching. Next week, we are coming your way. Tomorrow, we are coming to church. Morning Glory. I'm in high spirit. You can't afford to miss it tomorrow. God richly bless you. And tomorrow, there will be Father's Voice and also the Sabbath Hour. Everything we are coming your way with great show. You can't afford to miss any of that. My name is MAVIS ANKAMAH, and today we had Dr. Cecilia ASANTE Menu. May God richly bless you.
I serve a living God, oh, even the devil knows, say not true. I serve a living God, oh, everybody knows, say now you there, oh. I serve a living God, oh, even the devil knows, say not true, I serve a living God, oh, everybody knows, say now you there, oh. I serve a living God, oh, oh, na, na, even the devil, oh, say not true, not true, not true. You died, oh, you rose again, oh, over my sake, you came and you died, you rose again. Papa collect the glory and the honor, at your salute, oh, nobody fit drag up with you, take the glory and the honor, at your salute, oh, now you there, oh, now you there. your glory, no one to share. Jehovah, anything you talk, you to do. You get the power to save, heal, and deliver. Hosanna, the angels to sing hallelujah. You know they lie, you know they fail, you know they carry my matter they play. See yesterday, you call me your own. When it reach my turn, Lord, you know they delay. From generation to generation, from Liberia to Jamaica, you know they carry last, you know they carry last. You ote, 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 authentic God, ote, 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 authentic God, ote, 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 ote.